Mine is. Warren, are you on?
What's that?
You're rolling for that.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning again.
Morning.
Um, okay, so we did our pledge during our social service board meeting. We do need to add an item on the agenda under our issue form of a resignation. So I'd like to have a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, now looking for approval of the agenda as amended.
So move.
Warren
Second.
and Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. On to the consent items.
Those three items I move.
Okay, Gary,
Second.
seconded by Warren. Any discussion or questions on anything? Not all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Okay, on to our issue form. Okay, number one on there is to nominate representative for the Northwest Regional Development Commission.
I will move to nominate Kathleen Dwight.
Okay, and then we also have a application from Jerry Amiot. Do we have
A separate,
both two nominations or?
you separately?
That's the one we received. Is there something?
Oh, I know Kathleen has applied for one. She just had me sign it this morning. That's what I thought she was talking about.
I'm not aware of that. But
Okay, then
the one that's
withdraw that.
in the packet is the one
That we received so far.
that.
Yeah, well, Jerry has been very responsible in that position, so I would move to reappoint.
Okay,
Second.
seconded by Paul. Any discussion? And then we get Kathleen's and we can
Mhm.
do her, so. Okay, so all those in favor of nominating Jerry Amiot, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
She wouldn't do it till November. She's
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
next is the notice of the MCIT board election.
I know there's been some interest in this in the past and maybe some things we've kind of learned, maybe how to maximize our opportunities. So just a little cover letter for you. And I said we could do a resolution if you have somebody you want to support. A motion for that. Otherwise, nobody's interested in pursue it.
I think, I mean,
Do we have the one nomination for our candidates?
so the incumbent is filing for reelection.
And I think there's until what, November 6th for applications. If that's true, I hate to be a little premature. I mean, not sure if there's going to be another one.
Yeah, well, it's more if any of you want to
Mm-hmm.
move forward. We used to have Don on there. Of course, we got Jack Swanson from our region.
Right.
So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I know that at their annual meeting last year, there's discussion that they were going to look at, their kind of their guidelines of how they appoint or, recommend people for the board. So I don't know if there'll be kind of some changes there. And then also that they hired Steve Nelson as their director.
Right.
So, and I mean, he's been with them for a long time. So. Okay, well then we will just, nothing on that right now.
Yeah, I agree to that.
Okay, and then our board meeting dates.
follows the same format. I did highlight the third Tuesday is it fourth Tuesday in December, 22nd. Usually you don't have a meeting after the budget is approved, which would be I don't know if you see any conflicts you want changes or anything, but
We don't, are you telling us we don't normally have that December 22nd one?
Correct.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think we should remove that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
we got the 2 budget
Yep.
days.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the following Tuesday after that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because AMC is a little bit later next year, the 6th through the 9th. So,
I move that we, with the elimination of December 22nd, I move.
I'll second that.
Paul and Warren.
And if we need to, a special, we can always call
We
them.
can always call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, any more discussion on that?
Can you send that out to us, please?
correct it and send it out.
Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, and on to our next item is our resignation from Mark Holey.
Yeah, Commissioner Holey sent me a resignation here about half an hour ago. I can read it here quickly. I'm just getting something up that he had talked to us earlier about. We worked, Sam and I, and the county attorney. But if I could read Mark's email, he says, I hereby resign from the board effective today. ALS is progressing faster than we thought. I need more time with my family. I so appreciated being on the board. Wishing it could have been longer. Thank you, Mark Polk.
Well, he did an excellent job, to say that for.
He was very good for his constituents. I'm really proud of him for that.
Yeah,
And reluctantly, I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, Paul and Warren. Any other discussion?
It's a sad day for Polk County, that's all.
For sure.
Yeah, he's, last couple of months have been tough and it's going to be even tougher going forward. Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay.
If you want, put on your desk the memorandum that Greg put together. Sam might be able to comment on a couple things if you have any questions. Otherwise, we can come back at a future date with what is required.
Yeah, so the most pertinent information is actually probably on the top of page 2. Like that. Accordingly, if Mr. Foley were to resign his office, the county board could declare a vacancy and call for a special election at a future date to fill his unexpired term. So I would assume at a future meeting that vacancy would be declared. And then as a board, you would choose an election date. There's certain dates that they can be on
Right.
for 2026.
Do you have those available?
Yes, February 3rd, March 10th, August 11th, and November 3rd.
I think we should do it the first possible time.
Well, that's your choice. I was just gonna say Commissioner Holey's request has always been, like when he's spoken about this, has been to not cause the county a special election outside of normal elections.
Mhm.
With that, it would cause a vacancy until
November.
possibly November, possibly August. The way it can run is if there is not more than 2 candidates that file, then the August would become the actual election instead of the primary. Again, we can let you guys think on it and make.
What about vacancy in number 3?
The number 3, it's more than 1 year.
Mhm.
His
Is it
term
3
just started.
years?
So it
Mhm.
really is, special election is the only option we have at this point.
Mhm.
Of course, that special election would strictly be in District 5. It wouldn't be throughout the county, so
Yeah,
cost would be not overly expensive.
it would still be quite, it's
It's
still
still-
expensive, but yes, it would be much less than running a county-wide. You know, when cities or schools look to put them on, it's usually in that $8,000 to $12,000 range.
But it's still, like when I took over, it's still August is the first election.
If you choose a date prior to that, I believe then March 10th would be the first date that you would set with, depending on how many people file, February 3rd could be the election date. If there needed to be a primary, it would be February 3rd with the election of March 10th. That would be the earliest, just without really looking into it more this morning, because I got the news, 15 minutes before the meeting.
Mhm.
That's how I believe it would run if we wanted to set those dates. That are the soonest we could do it.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think it's wise certainly to extend to August 11th,
I don't either. Not
That's-
since
that's
I was
not-
hoping that we could do option 3,
right? So,
but we missed it
guess-
by a month. No,
oh,
No.
more than that,
yeah,
Mhm.
years.
years.
Mhm.
It's really not an option.
February 3rd may come up, may be early with the holidays to get people to think about this. Maybe the March 11th date is, was
So
that
that
it?
would be the active
March
date.
10th. I mean, it all depends on how many people apply, right? I mean, if you have to have a primary.
Yes, and again, let me do a little bit more digging,
Mhm.
just to confirm the dates and how it would flow. And then I'll report back at the next board meeting of here's how it would go for each one if you want to choose this date, or this date.
Right.
Out of the available.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan, 'cause I don't think we're prepared to make a decision today, so.
Right.
But just for awareness, what are the elections in February and March?
Those are just the statutory dates that
Right.
no actual
No
election
magic.
right now happening. It would be for special elections. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So-
Oh, I get it. Yep.
But so like if we chose the March 10th, and if there's more than 2, then does that become the primary date?
That's what I was actually needing to look into to see if the February date would then become the primary.
One would think so, but you can confirm, and
Yeah, that's what
maybe
I
on the
wanna make
4th we
sure.
can decide.
Want to make sure that we got it at least set up if we choose the March date that we can have a primary.
Right.
Correct.
Otherwise, if we choose that, then that's the primary
August would be the,
election date.
Yeah, and I want to double check on all the filing periods, the notification period.
Right.
When it would have to set. I believe we'd have plenty of time. Being what's the next meeting date? November 4th.
Correct.
So starting there, I believe we would have enough time to get everything taken care of. But I want to be sure when we do this so that we're doing it correctly with the right.
Makes sense.
okay, sounds
Yeah.
good. Okay,
More information to
How
follow.
long a filing period do you have to have?
I think it's the 2 weeks. But that's what I want to make sure for the
Mhm.
that's the same as a normal election. And how many days before the election does that have to happen? And all the steps that would go into it.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, well, more information to come. Let's try and do our forum here. Paul?
2 things. We had Tri-Valley. I was quite pleased that process is finally complete and we have a new person. I don't remember her name completely, but
I've got it here on.
she's originally from around here. That's a great
Correct.
news.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it was a very good meeting. It was fun to listen to. There was very little going on there. And then I had Dancing Sky yesterday, and boy, oh boy, they're in the same boat. But with all these government shutdowns and changes and stuff, but they're set. Everything is set through mid of the year, so they aren't affected in their programs like some of these others are being affected. So that was nice to note. So that was that's a 3 hour meeting. That's a lot of stuff they cover. You just have to just kind of bear with it and see what.
Mhm.
But that was the main takeaway from there. I think they were all pleased with that. And there's a Sandhill board thing coming up in November
Mhm.
that I'm planning to go to. So that's good.
Okay, Warren?
Okay, a bunch of stuff. Start with corrections. There were 128 in last Monday. The average for the month is 135. For the year, the high has been 146 with a low of 126. So we're right at the low number. And it's kind of difficult sometimes to look at, the makeup of that 128, 59 were from Polk. And we go back to the days when we built the jail, that's about the number we're looking at. So it really has reverted to that point. And it's a good thing because we've got unexperienced staff and stuff, so they need some time to get up to speed that way. Norman had 9, Red Lake had 2, Monoman was at 1 point at 114. Ice at 13.7. They brought in 37,000. MnDOT brought in 24,000 with a 10.67 average. And Marshal Services at an average of 24.57 brought in 70,000. And the non-members brought in 92,988. So we had 179,000, so 8,000 in money in income for the month, which is pretty dang good. Probation had 50 new cases and closed 62. Personnel are 6 new and 4 promoted and 4 resigned. So it doesn't ever seem to get to some stable point. And there was a 1 withdrawal in that too. They closed 1 unit in the jail simply because of staffing. And they've just crowded them into that 60 unit cell. There was some health issues, problems there. Be a $400,000 hit to the budget, and all 2 got out of it, and we had to bring in Advanced Correctional Health Organization. Not quite sure that I understand all of that, but that's a big hit to the budget. Blue Cross and Shield rates for next year will be about up 39% anyway. Not good. That's enough on that one. We had a special meeting of the ditch unit, the West Central Regional Watershed District, and we approved the memorandum of understanding, which is an
I forgot
agreement.
about that meeting. I was at that one too.
That's an agreement between West Central and the Marshall Polk Rural Water System and Polk County Board. And we approved that one, and now it will come to us today for the Polk County approval on that, will it not? Or not?
As I'm recommending pending Marshall Polk
Okay,
rural water system approval. And as of now, I have not heard from them, but I think they were meeting this morning.
they're meeting today, yes.
Yeah.
I had thought about going there, but I've been there enough. Okay, that's good. And when we come down to the final letter of support that will go with the document to the judge for this approval thing, I would like to see maybe a letter of support based on the participating units of government, 3 units. We each three invested, over $100,000 in the makeup of it. It's been over 100,000, has it not?
Probably.
County, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And on top of that, of course, we have that 584,000 investment in there, and City of Climax has got 1.3 million. So there's lots of support for the whole program. I'd like the judge to know that, but I'll talk to Stephen about that at our next meeting.
Sure.
I think it would be just very helpful to have that along with it. Doesn't have to be part of the agreement, just a side note of some sort.
And if Daniel can present it, just in the packet, that there's a letter of support.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's a decent idea.
They would have the resolutions
Yep.
from this board. They'd have what you're planning on doing today.
Hmm.
Because already by Stephen's information, right, 725 pages of.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
okay. A couple of other things. North Dakota Department of Transportation is holding 2 hearings now on that airport crossing out west of Grand Forks. So it'd be interesting to see what they come up with. One of them is a diamond exchange and the other one is a roundabout. The 2 possibilities. There might be some more, but North Dakota's $8 billion in fund balance. There's no reason why they couldn't put an overpass there and solve the problem once and for all. But I don't think that's going to happen. Today, as part of the East Grand Forks Council meetings, they will have a little retirement event for Mike Powers. He's
Oh, yeah.
going off the planning commissions, both at the county and at the city level. And he's been there for a long time and has loved it. And then I got an early report on the third quarter drug task force stuff. Not a whole lot of really sizable interests there. There were 56, there were 29 arrests, 42 no cases involving seizures of 11 guns and the drugs, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, and all such. But anyway, that'll come out in the newsletter. I had a report together for that. So that's probably enough out of me. I got lots of paperwork here.
Okay, Gary?
I did get a call yesterday from Charlie. I don't have his last name right here before me, but his phone number. And he had an issue around the Warren area regarding Martin Garden Valley installing cable and that affecting some ditch drainings. So obviously he's a neighbor to Mark, so realizes, what do we do? So I'm guessing would that be, anyone know, Richard Sanders? And we'll mention that, they see he's on there.
Hmm.
Okay, so we'll go with that. We did have a very successful search with the CEO for Tri-Valley. Melody Hedden will be joining us December 1st. She is a former Crookston resident, actually worked in Tri-Valley for a number of years. I've never, in the number of interviews I've involved with, I've never found anyone so more enthusiastic about this position and moving to Crookston. We had 25, 30 applicants. We interviewed 3 on Zoom, brought the top 2 in San Diego, and both would have been very, very good CEOs. So very, very happy with the outplay of that. And
It was interesting. Right during the meeting, the secretary, she got a text, "Have you voted yet?" She was wondering
Right.
if the board voted already.
The part was we were meeting Tuesday. So she's very, very excited.
You're very excited.
And very interesting story there. She'll probably or hopefully share that with you. I'm certainly going to invite her to one of our meetings. Tri-Valley is a $30 million operation. And certainly has a lot of different branches, not only through Polk County, but I think 80 some counties in Minnesota, North Dakota. So to bring us kind of up to date on, certainly works very well with social services, and could share that. Then Laurel, the Lake Agassiz Regional Library, had an executive board meeting last Thursday, and very interesting. Representative, and I guess all of it have been a little concerned about the formula on how we support the libraries. And individual on the board from Becker County was not excited about the $40,790 increase. Okay, and thought that we should maybe take a look at the formula, and I'll maybe share a little bit more, but at least so you know how this process works. So the way the formula is set up is based on how many transactions at every library. 80% is 10% of the population of your city or county, and 10% of property valuation. Okay, so that comes out, and just to kind of show you where Crookston is. Crookston is increase is 28,590. Okay, we've received that request already.
Crookston and Polk County.
And I'm sorry, that's Polk County. Crookston, 14,740. So some of these counties do have another city who has a fairly large library, Detroit Lakes, and obviously Moorhead. The option that they were doing prior to the formula was expenses divided by without the formula. Okay, so whatever it costs to run your libraries. And so what that looks like, at least for Polk County, we have Climax, McIntosh, Fertile, and Foston. Okay, the cost of that is $450,000. Give a breakdown. Climax is open for 16 hours. McIntosh, 16 hours a week. Fertile, 24 hours a week. Foston, 33 hours a week. Okay, so if they go back to that, and there's some. I mean, this formula was set up 30 years ago. So obviously, we kind of take a look at what different figures are. But otherwise, if there's some interest in going back to individual expenses, that would be a striking increase.
Oh my goodness.
And also understand, that Crookston is participating above and beyond that. Their expenses, I think, are around $250,000. So we'll see where that goes. We have decided that it's not going to affect the 26 budget, but it will obviously change. And East Grand Forks has their own library, so they're funding in Crookston. So it's a question of if they decide to go that way, what decisions are we going to have to make? Would we be asking Climax, McIntosh, Fertile, Boston if they want to provide funds to keep the library going? I'm certainly very supportive of libraries. I think it's very, very important, and reading and those types of things. We talk about corrections. A lot of the people that are in the correction center have difficulties reading. So there are a lot of advantages of supporting libraries, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, for the 28 hours that Fertile, I didn't know that they were only open 28 hours, but that place is always busy. There's kids, there's people, there's adults, there's whatever, always in there. And I'm sure it's the same here.
There's that correction center, that education department, they've got books coming out their ears. So it's not a matter.
It's not a matter of materials being available.
Yeah,
It's
It's whether or not they can actually read the material.
Yeah, the ability.
right.
Right.
So just a little, I mean, more to come, but
Mhm.
it's probably not going to affect our budget for next year,
Yeah.
but for the future,
Going forward.
it's something we're going to have to follow up on that.
Mhm.
And just to finish up, then I did the KROX Valley Talk last Friday. That's all I've got.
Okay. Um, so 2 weeks ago, I had shack retreat down in the cities, and our first day was actually spent on like how our public health compares to tribal public health. And so we all got a book that's called Everything You Want to Know About Indians, but We're Afraid to Ask. So it's pretty interesting. But I thought it was interesting that Minnesota has 11 recognized tribes, and there are Native Americans in each county that is in Minnesota. But then in the metro area, there's about 130 tribes that are represented there. So, I mean, that's definitely, you're drawing people from, other tribes throughout the US. So I thought that was interesting. We had our AMC Board of Directors meeting. We approved our budget for next year, went over our legislative priorities that came up from our policy conference, and we'll be voting on those at our district meeting next Thursday up in Thief River. And then also the policy conference next year will be in a new location because we just were outgrowing our Arrowwood location. And so it will be at Sanford Center in Bemidji. So, they've got enough room. There's enough hotels that are hooked up there. A golf course for the golf tournament. And like if you're at, like the hotel in the inn, there's going to be shuttles, between the Sanford and the hotels and stuff. So, I had mentioned that, to our Jessica Siebert, who was working on it, and she said they checked it out, and so we're going to try it. So, looking forward to that. Did my monthly radio program. Went to the Soil and Water District meeting. There's still, like now with the shutdown, because there's a lot of interest in the east side of with soil health programs like cover crops, no tillage, minimum tillage programs. But some of that comes from the federal, so they're just kind of putting on hold some of that stuff right now. And I had a meeting. This is a spinoff from the AMC Mental Behavioral Health Committee that I'm on. We're going to present at the annual conference in December. And so there's a handful of us that we got together kind of deciding what we want that to look like, and just kind of trying to get that going. I had MAFPA CWDA yesterday. We received word that our interim report is now being looked over by the legislative people at DCYF. And just there's still a lot of questions, and a lot of the things deal with the definition of these words that are in the law. How do we interpret them? So I already mentioned the district meeting in Thief River on the 30th. Township Association is next Tuesday night here in Crookston. And then also about a little over a week ago, by Winger, there was a accident between a vehicle and a Amish buggy. And I received a few phone calls on that. So I touched base with Sheriff Tadman on that. And so, but that's all I have. So, Jim?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have the sheriff's report for September. Starting off with our documented services, we had a total of 68 come through the office, and our paid services of that were 2,060.80, and then our no charge services were 1,232.28. Oh, there it is. Get it set up here. With that, and then our transports for the month, to our transport services, we had 3,710 miles, which is
Wow, low.
way down, which is great. But our in-state still stays the same at 228 or 2,228. Our out-of-state prison is the one that's really dropped, and then with other counties and medical. Our federal transports still stay up there. We had 828 miles of federal transports, and then that again that takes two of our transport officers, deputies at the time, so it's 189 total hours just for those transport, just with the federal. So for the month, so that's good, saves us some money. There's just a breakdown of who went on the transports and the mileages they put in on that. And then our calls for the month in our dispatch center, total calls we had is 2,115. Our emergency was 686, and then our non-emergency was 1,429. And then just showing the breakdown with that, our summary chart. And then going into our calls for service for the month. For our patrol, we had a total of 835 calls for service. And then I drop down, I'll get to that. So breaking that down is, again, with our animal complaints, this is getting into the deer season and everything, so we've had a lot of those dealing with, but we had 3 assaults reported and dealt with. Agency assist, we had 15. 1 burglary, which is great to see, and then careless driving, we had 3. And then disorderly conduct, we had a total of 5, and then 2 domestics reported, so that's great to see. Our harassment calls for the month, we had 5. And then our info tip line coming in, we had 16. And then juvenile complaints, we had 8. With our motor vehicle crashes, we had a total of 11, 4 of those being injuries. And looking at, we'll see with the bee harvest for the month of October, what that'll bring on our next report. So, and then our reckless driving, we had 6, and then school patrol, it continues to be busy with that, 120 of those. And then our suspicious activities, that's including persons and vehicles, we had a total of 16 of those. So traffic complaints, traffic hazards, and then traffic stops. So we had a total of 12 traffic complaints with the hazards, and then traffic stops are 256 for the month of September. So looking at that is our welfare checks on the last pages. We had 21 total, and again with the 3 after that, and then 5 on the calls for service and error. We had a total of 835 total calls for service for the month.
I don't recall what, there was 1 burglary.
Yeah. Mhm.
What specifically is the definition of a burglary?
It's when somebody enters a dwelling,
right?
yep, to commit a crime.
When places open?
When it's open or not, it's a
closed,
dwelling
doesn't
where
matter.
somebody lives.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then I attached the August report Also with that, there's for, I don't know if that one's on here. There it is, the August report for further details on that. So any questions, concerns? Okay, very good then. I'll let Victoria get busy.
Did
Any
you have
issues
something?
with beat truck traffic?
Beat truck traffic is out there and really busy. We got a lot of the deputies out there, and we go to where we're getting the reports of where people are running stop signs and speeding and dropping beats. So we get
Good.
out there and do the patrols. So it's been really good this year. So knock on wood.
I hear
No,
there's
there's-
lots of reports of running that County Road 17 Highway 2.
Well, they've got signs up there and
Well,
everything
everything's
else.
up there, but
We've
they
had
still do it.
directed traffic and also state patrol's been out there with their directed traffic. So yeah, it's a
Still
busy
do it.
intersection.
Mhm.
In fact, where I do my coffee club group at Bully Brew in East Grand Forks, that's at the intersection of 4th Street, which is the MnDOT in-town traffic route, and Demers Avenue right there.
Mhm.
But we sit there and watch those trucks come in. 80% of them are overloaded, and about half of them seem to be running a stop sign, either whether it's a yellow
Wow.
or a right,
Right at that intersection.
right at that
Oh.
intersection.
That's busy intersection too.
Very intersection.
There's a
I
lot
see-
going on with County Road 17 and Highway 2 up there.
Yeah, that's very busy.
Yep. You know, and then we did get to report, I got calls on the crash that they had with the buggy out there. And we've been doing some directed patrols out there with that too. So they have to have all the slow moving signs, the lights in the rear and all that stuff to be on the road too. So
Mhm.
they can be cited, but there's two part to that crash. So the other person was arrested for intoxicated. So, but
Mhm.
you bet. So, okay. Well, thank you. Have a nice day.
Very good.
Thanks.
They get hurt.
Mhm.
Good morning. I have about a dozen contracts for
You do.
board approval, and this is my first time using this mouse here for the smart board. Okay, I'll get started. Our first one
Thank you.
is for Angela Holloway, Family Support Meeting Facilitator Contract. Angela Holloway contract is to provide family support meeting facilitator services. A family support meeting facilitator is a professional who helps guide and structure meetings for families, typically those facing challenges or crises. Their role is to ensure that all family members can express their thoughts and feelings and promote understanding and work together to address issues effectively. These costs will be covered by the state child protection allocation. The request is board approval of the 2026 contract with Angela Holloway for $5,000.
Okay, looking.
Move. I will.
Second.
Paul and Gary, any discussion? Yeah, so we went through all these during our social service board meeting, so we should be able to go through them fairly quickly.
Okay,
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
okay. The next one I have here is for HSL Consulting LLC. This contract is to provide clinical supervision to children's and adult mental health case managers. Clinical supervision means the case manager's oversight, responsibility for individual treatment plans, and individual mental health service delivery. This contract is paid using Children's Mental Health Screening Grant and county funds. The request is for board approval of the 2026 contract with HSL Consulting LLC for $15,900.
I so move.
Second.
Paul and Warren, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Okay. Next one is our contract with Ray of Hope LLC as a consultant to provide reflective supervision, consultation, and coaching services to Polk County Social Services Children's Services Unit. These costs will be covered by the state child protection allocation. The request is for board approval of the 2026 contract with Ray of Hope LLC for the total of $6,750.
So moved.
Second.
Gary and Warren, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Next one we have here is a contract with Michelle Deneen Consultant for reflective consultation and supervision and coaching services to Polk County Social Services Children's Services units. These costs will be covered by the state child protection allocation. The request is for board approval of the 2026 contract for reflective consultation services with Michelle Deneen for a total of $1,500.
So moved.
Second.
Warren and Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Our next contract is a contract with the Violence Intervention Project to provide supervised visitation services to families in Polk County. The contract sets rates of $36 an hour for supervised visitation, $12 per exchange, $25 an hour for visitation room use, $25 per parent for intake, $30 for visit cancelizations, $10 for exchange cancelizations, and these costs will be covered by the state child protection allocation. The request we have is for board approval of the 2026 contract with Violence Intervention Project.
I move.
Second.
Paul and Gary. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Our next agenda item is an agreement. It is the Tri-County Community Corrections Title IV-E agreement requesting approval. This agreement is between Polk County Social Services and Tri-County Community Corrections, granting responsibility for the placement, care, and supervision of children under the state Title IV-E foster care and adoption plan. This agreement grants authorizations to receive Title IV-E foster care maintenance payments for eligible children. The request is for board approval of the 2026-2027 Tri-County Community Corrections for Title IV-E agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Warren and Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Our next one is our Tri-County Community Corrections Residential Services Contract. This contract is for 2026. The member county non-secure placement evaluation and shelter care rates will be $189 a day. The member county secure detention placement rates remain the same at no cost. The non-member county non-secure hold and program placement rates will be $415 a day. The non-member county non-secure evaluation and secure evaluation rates will be $440 a day. The payment for these purchase services shall be made through appropriate funds, either medical assistance or county funds. The request is for board approval of the 2026 contract with Tri-County Community Corrections for Child Residential Services.
So moved.
Gary?
Second.
Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. Our next contract is with Tri-County Community Corrections for our transition program. Contract with Tri-County Community Corrections transition program. This program works with youth who are at risk of out-of-home placement in the amount of $25 per day. This is an increase of $4 per client daily. Requesting board approval of the 2026 contract with Tri-County Community Corrections for the transition program.
So moved.
Warren?
Second.
You're starting to slow down. Okay, so Warren and Gary, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. Our next three contracts are contracts for our disability services programming. Our first contract is a new contract with A New Directions with providing semi-independent living services which includes training, counseling, instruction, supervision, and assistance provided to a person with developmental disabilities or related condition. This contract will be covered by our SILS state allocation. Requesting approval for the contract with A New Direction to provide semi-independent living skills in the amount of $25,000 for 2026.
So moved.
Paul
Second?
and Gary. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Our next contract is with Lutheran Social Services to provide semi-independent living skills services which includes training, counseling, instruction and supervision with 4 individuals with developmental disabilities or related conditions. These costs will be covered by the state SILS allocation. The request is for approval of this contract with Lutheran Social Services to provide SILS in the amount of $30,000 for 2026.
Move.
Paul,
Second.
Warren. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We're almost done.
Okay, yes. Our next contract request is for the approval of REM to provide the semi-independent living skills services, which includes training, counseling, instruction, and supervision and assistance to a person with developmental disabilities or related conditions. These costs will be covered by the state SILS allocation. The request is for approval of the contract with REM to provide SILS in the amount of $80,995 for 2026.
Need a motion.
So moved?
Gary,
Second.
seconded by Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, and this is the last one. I have a request for an agreement, 2026-2027 Minnesota Family Investment Program Biannual Service Agreement. The purpose of this biannual service agreement is to provide Department of Human Services with information about services and strategies intended to meet program measures with the goal of increasing the economic stability of low-income families on the Minnesota Family Investment Program. The different sections of the biannual service agreement gather information about program strengths and service delivery gaps. The request is for an approval of the 2026-2027 Minnesota Family Investment Program biannual service agreement.
Okay, last motion here.
So moved?
Gary,
Second.
Warren. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thanks. Okay, Rich.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Lee. I will do this to Mr. White. Should be the closest. We have 2 ditch cleaning petitions, one for State Ditch 61, and one for County Ditch 30 in Fanny Township. State Ditch 61.
What township?
Fanny.
That's me.
Not me.
No, that would be Mr. Holy, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's on his border. That's why I handed it that
Oh,
way. But
Okay.
Is this one you brought up earlier?
It's a different one.
but I heard you talking, so
Oh,
if you want to just hand me that, I
phone
will
number.
take care of.
Thank you much.
Typically when they're doing work next to a roadway, they fill out a utility permit to cross or work along our roads. If it's a legal ditch, sometimes they don't even know that they're supposed to do anything with the county, and so I'll have to have a conversation with them if it actually is our ditch, our responsibility.
Okay.
Let's get past all this stuff, I think.
Well, who signs the ones for Mark then?
I'm from Fanny, so
Are you Fanny?
Fanny is mine.
Oh, well, then it's you. Sorry. I thought it was far enough north and west that it
No.
was. Okay. See,
153.
150. Oh, there we go. Okay, the first one, State Ditch 61, Section 12, clean, survey and clean as needed. The landowner is willing to do the work himself, and so I need approval for the survey and clean as needed.
Okay, so looking for a motion for cleaning ditch 61.
So move.
Warren? Paul? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next is County Ditch 30. So when he submitted the form, they said section 3 a lull, so that's why we have a 3. And then it was going to be, I thought he had the wrong ditch number. So we had County Ditch 27. Well, then I talked to the contractor that he talked to, and he said, no, it's in the north side of 34 of Fanny. And so it was County Ditch 30. So that's why you see a little scribble marks, just making sure that we were in the right place, right time. So it's survey and clean as needed on the north side of section 34, which is actually the south ditch of our county road or county state highway 63. So not only is it a legal ditch, but it's a roadway ditch. And so we have really good notes on its legal grade. And so this one shouldn't be an issue. So I need approval to clean that half mile of County Ditch 30.
Family. Landowners doing it?
No, we'll Grant Plant,
Oh, I see.
our contractor that does work in that area will be doing the work.
So move.
Second.
Warren and Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And that is it for me.
Except for good comments on our little 12 project.
Little 12 project. It's yeah, I
It's
mean
muddy now.
it went
muddy now.
quick.
Yeah,
It went quick.
it's muddy now, but
Yeah.
I think they're coming around. The culvert deal that we talked about, they're very happy.
Well, yeah, it cost us some money, but
Mhm.
we had the ability to fix what they felt needed fixing, and it went, so that wasn't an issue, but we own 58 feet of 60-inch cattle pass, so we'll be using it someplace else.
I figured.
I had a request to check out number 3 north of Gully, like past Jefferson Road. Apparently it's breaking up.
Number 3 north of, there is no number 2 north of Gully.
Is it 2?
2 goes north of Gully. And so through the swamp, it's breaking up.
I'm not.
Oh. Anyway, it's on the schedule for an mill and overlay in the near future. So,
Okay.
but I will have either myself or Darren run up and take a look at it to make sure that there isn't anything. But
Yeah,
I'm sure that through the swamp it could be looking worse than other
Mhm.
places. So
yeah, okay.
can't fix everything. We can only fix it and it's been over 20 years since the fix. So, I mean,
Yeah. So, but just check
Yep.
it out. So.
yep. Okay,
Otherwise, good.
perfect. I'm out of here.
Okay.
There's that back. Thank you.
Thanks.
Do you want to
Thank you.
do any of your? Have you heard about the?
I still have not heard. I can go ahead if you want.
I can give a quick update on election dates.
Oh,
They have some standard ones that were actually the caucus and the township ones that I looked at first. But so it's February 10th, April 14th, May 12th, and then the August 11th and November 3rd dates.
February 10th, and what were the next other two?
April 14th,
May 12th.
May 12th. Those are the uniform election dates in 2026.
Okay,
Maybe for the next meeting, we can just put it in a memo and just fill in the.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll have everything.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
I just wanted to let you know that I looked
Okay.
at a different page on the Secretary of State's website.
okay. Okay, Chuck.
Okay. Audit things. We have two items on the agenda having to do with the West Central Regional Water District and the Marshall Polk Rural Water System. The first one is a resolution 25 or 2025-59, which recognizes that Marshall Polk has been looking in their future plans, even if their legal boundaries haven't extended into where now the line is for West Central, as this board has made it clear that it is interested in all residents of Polk County having the availability of a water system service, that these plans are understood, that Marshall Polk has been working on them. And the board itself would be open to recognizing an expansion that would otherwise be going into the West Central territory. This was something that their members had asked in some discussions. I think some meetings Warren was at quite some time ago, last summer. Hey Rick. I wouldn't say it was a simple thing, but I think it's an important thing from their standpoint that some of their planning has been recognized. The second item is the memorandum of understanding between really West Central Regional Water District and the Marshall Polk Rural Water System. Marshall Polk is acting on this morning, from what I've been told. It's taken a while to get to this point. They meet once a month, so any change tends to push it out one more month. West Central has already agreed to this. It really doesn't make much sense for Polk County, the Polk County Board, to agree to it until the two have come to an agreement themselves, but it tries to maintain a friendly planning environment for future water system improvements that would otherwise go along the borderline. Of course, there are none in the immediate future. So I think what's important for both the resolution and the agreement is, after all of us are gone and an issue comes up, that this will have been recognized by the board itself. And again, going back to your objective of having a water system available to any resident, this would be in place. So I think if you wanted to act on this now, my recommendation would be you can act on the resolution. If you want to approve the MOU, I would recommend it contingent upon Marshall Polk. If it somehow changes again today, there's no sense in having voted on it, then re-voting on it again at the next meeting. I'm not quite sure why I haven't heard from them. I have heard from them in the past by now on a Tuesday morning, but I'm not at their meeting, so that would be my recommendation at this point.
Okay, we still have time this morning.
We still have time, so you don't even have to do this right now. You can wait. It's actually later in the agenda, but I'm a little bit
Unless
early.
we just want to move on the resolution right now, because we can do that.
I would move.
I will second.
Warren and Paul, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay.
Okay, we'll come back later. And let me see if I can find a Rick. Got a lot of things on in the packet today.
156.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi there.
Well, as you can see, we have retirement coming up.
Mm.
Oh,
Well, the email's shut now, so it won't even go up.
well, that's good. You have until January 23rd.
Yeah, we do. So
Someone, so
we gotta
way to be ahead of it.
get ahead of it. So if we could start looking for find a replacement, that's what they're requesting. See if we can move forward with that. We pretty essential that we keep our staffing at 100% if at all possible. So if we can get a good start on it now, that's what we'd certainly like to do.
So moved.
Gary
So second.
Second.
and Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Just so it wasn't you retiring.
Well, yeah, it's gonna happen someday.
Um,
All right, folks. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Have a good day.
You.
Okay, so we're actually scheduled for a break, but
We're ahead of schedule.
yep, we are. Well, so let's take
5
break.
minutes.
I would say we can take a break and talk to Stacy and see if she's around to come out.
Sure.
Yeah. Was Colleen, are they coming too, or?
I'm not aware of that. I'll check.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, let's just take a little break and we'll be back. let's continue on.
Okay.
Good morning.
So good morning, and thank you so much for everything you have done and taken some serious action to make some positive changes in your financial system. We've got, so Abdul came in and did a lot of mechanical things in the chart of accounts as far as streamlining, eliminated redundancies, worked with departments on processes, how bills are getting paid, things like that. So it's cleaning up. It's really a good thing. It's a great move forward. Now Stacy's on board, and she has walked into a big pile of things to do.
Challenge.
Challenge,
Challenge.
yes. And she's up for it. You know, we're good. We're saying, you know,
What she
hang in there,
likes.
girl. You know, and so there is plenty of more work to do, but it's huge. It's major improvements. We're in progress. This is going to make your world easier too, because you're going to get more timely, better financial information that's going to be easier to read and understand. You know, the way your chart of accounts has always worked really doesn't change too much. You still have your basic set of funds. You have, you know, your general fund, your road and bridge fund, your social services fund, and ditch fund, and so on. But you'll still see those separate sets of accounts, but now things are going to be directly in there that belong in there instead of being transferred back and forth to reimburse for this and reimburse for that. We're directly charging the fund for the things that should be in there in the first place. And it's a simple coding thing, but it's, you know, it's 40 years of doing it the old way from when we used to have paper and did it, you know, in the big red books. So we're using the computer system now for its capacity, which is great. Basically, Polk County's $200 million worth of assets and net worth. And I mean, that's what you are responsible for managing. Last year, well, in 2024 now, okay, so we're here. We had the audit done by the federal reporting deadline in September, and we're here now because it was our first appointment we could get. So that is huge that we made that reporting deadline. So now we will be doing the audit, hopefully more early every year, right? We're going to try to get you this information for analyzing fund balances and so forth for your budgeting process. I know it's still not too late, but you know, we'd like to have it done sooner. So I think that's doable. So we'll be bumping it up again next year and working together. So we still have some journal entries to make to clean up this year's stuff, but the audit was for 2024. So there was still a lot of things that weren't quite fixed in 2024. It's 25 now that's got
A lot of changes were in.
yeah.
So I guess I think our recommendation, the biggest one, is to get a hold of payroll and get a little bit better oversight over payroll, a little bit better internal controls over payroll. And Stacy is taking that on. That's a lot on your plate, though. So just something to keep in mind is we need oversight when you have hires, terminations, changes in payroll, changes in your different contracts and things like that. Somebody has to be watching that and double checking. And we also want to also recommend cross training. If we had your payroll person right now, if she wasn't there for some reason, would there be somebody else who could step in easily?
No.
That's huge. And it's a huge payroll that the county does.
It is.
So just something to keep in mind. That's sort of in our minds the biggest obstacle you have in front of you right now. And I think that would be a good thing to undertake, is to get that packed down correctly and make it better. It can be a lot better. So, but otherwise, a lot of the other things have been improved in 2025, some in 2024, like Colleen said, but the payroll aspect is really going to be a big one that we want, that we think should be made better. Other than that, we did want to talk a little bit about the findings. And in the back of your report, turning to page 119, is that's where your findings start.
I like going to the back of the book.
Well,
right to
it's
the fun part.
because this is, you know, almost a year old of numbers. It's, you know, we can just tell you that the funds are okay. I mean, we still have the incinerator fund costing a lot of money, and we have the landfill fund making a lot of money. So they kind of offset each other. When you put the two together, it's a positive. So as far as the garbage processing system of the county, it is a positive. So we're keeping track of those two funds separately to evaluate their performance. But really, it maybe in someday that those could be combined into one fund, so it wouldn't look like there's a big loss and then a big profit. Yeah, because they really do work together to offset, and they really are still transferring. There's like in 2024, there was like over $2 million of transfers back and forth between those two, which is what we're.
Yeah, so we're working on trying to understand why we're doing the transfers and really what they're doing, other than just making the books more complicated than what they need to be is really what it amounts to.
Yeah.
So
And
we-
just
we
getting
need to
down to
clean
that concept of fund accounting.
Correct.
Just getting that down packed, I think, is a big thing.
Yeah.
So that will eliminate a few of these comments that we have in the
Yes.
report this year.
And we can already tell a couple of the findings are going to be resolved already, just by what we've seen for 2025. So on page 119, segregation of duties. And your admin does a pretty good job of segregation of duties, but you have a lot of little small departments, and not all of them are able to do that appropriately. Capital assets, accounting and reporting. Have we done anything? Was taking care of that yet? Do we have?
We don't have
Okay.
that taken care of yet.
So
no.
that's
That is-
something too that we want, that we would recommend should be taken care of.
The land, the buildings, the equipment, somebody needs to make sure what we have, and what we don't have, and then what's in the insurance, what are we paying insurance on, and
So it's an inventory.
yeah, the inventory of all of the assets. And we have a really beautiful little simple Excel spreadsheet where we have everything listed on there that from every different department gives us their information, and then we put it together in one massive spreadsheet with tabs for every department. So that's kind of how we're keeping track of it. So it's not that hard. So
No, it's establishing a process within the county to add and delete and transact. So again, there isn't anybody in my staff assigned or tasked with it. It would fall to me to handle.
that
But
too.
keep in mind now, we're also talking about the payroll supervision and stuff. So there gets to be a limit as to where do you want my focus to be in the future versus where I need to be. Right now, I need to be on payroll because the payroll audit was not acceptable. I'm just saying,
Right.
it was not acceptable at all.
No, there was a lot of problems in payroll.
Not
There was
acceptable.
things that happened that should not have happened.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So-
we've got a lot of work to do to get into that, and it isn't just a matter of I'm going to look through a little bit of data and fix it. It's across the departments and the county in a whole, and that's a big change because it involves two processes. So it's beginning to have a split of my time of where to go because we also have the budgets going on, and we need to get into audit prep. We've already talked about 2025 audit prep with department heads and timelines and starting to get that work going because really that is 2 months away, not even really. So there's just getting to be a lot of really big things that need to be taken care of, and capital assets is one of
It's
them.
kind of low on the totem pole. It always has been.
Right.
But it'll get there.
We'll
It'll
get
get
there.
there. We still have, accurate, materially correct financial information. So we're not worried too much about it. But it is something that is a lot of money in the county, and it should be maybe not necessarily under Stacy. I mean, there should be asset management person. It wouldn't necessarily be a full-time person, maybe. I don't know, but and each department has been doing a pretty decent job of keeping track of their own. But then there's such a fragmented situation there. And then also it has to do with approvals. Do they have approval to buy stuff? You have your budget process where you approve certain levels. Then do they have the approval to dispose of stuff? And where did it go if they disposed of it? Did they sell it? Did they scrap it? Where did it go? We don't want things to disappear.
Right. And then if it's bought with federal money or state money, there's different processes and procedures. You can't just dispose of it. So it's not just a update once a year.
And then to touch on that, we just did a training yesterday, actually, and one, what was it that's moving to $10,000 again? The procurement of
For federal
spending.
10,000 is the new.
Is 10,000 is the new threshold instead of 5,000. So it would probably be a good recommendation to change your county policy to 10,000 for your capitalization policy also, and that would eliminate a lot of the smaller items. Just keeping track of those bigger ones.
The AICPA or Association of CPAs put on this training, 8 hours for us yesterday for our continuing education.
Mhm.
$300 billion of fraud in government last year.
Mhm.
Billion, 300
Mhm.
billion. So, I mean, they had a bunch of statistics and case samples and things like that of how things happened. And it was just interesting. And it's like, oh my God, for
Right.
us, but then only 3% of those frauds are found out in an external audit. 3% only
It's those internal controls in-house that are gonna
catch it.
alleviate those.
Mhm.
Yeah, the county itself and tips to the hotline. The tips was a big one, like one employee will rat out somebody else, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But most of it, all of it's found internally.
Mm-hmm.
And then once again, they went to the point where you're supposed to go look at what kind of car are the people driving,
Right.
or are they living beyond their means? That's one of the big flags that
Mhm.
in these frauds where they said they
Yeah.
should have known about it because the way this person was acting,
Mhm.
so keep your eyes open around here. I mean, most of the frauds were committed by people the biggest dollar amount was people over 50.
Mhm.
Under that age was
The
Yeah.
number
smaller.
of them was from like 40 to 50.
Right. But the biggest amounts
35 to
that
50.
were taken
Was
were
the old people.
Is that,
because they know how to do things.
My age people. Because they've been around.
all of us.
Right. Well, because they've been around a long time and they know how
Right.
things work and they
Yeah.
know they know where there's oversight and they know where there isn't.
Exactly.
is this part of the swamp that Trump talked about?
Right. We're working on it, man. We're draining as fast as we can go. Yeah, we had personally in our firm we had like 3 this year. So little things and they came up right away, so we were able to nip it in the bud. And they were all caught by in-house. They weren't caught by us.
But it's amazing how those frauds, everybody's probably seen fraud emails, fraud
Oh, yeah.
scam
Phishing
calls,
scams,
things like
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
We've had, was it 2 of them that were fraud emails and they went further than they should have just because those policies that they were cities at the time, and they just didn't follow what they usually do. They should have been initialed by the department heads. They should have been, but
Approved by the councils.
but the emails had stated, and they were so real looking that they said, "Oh, this has to be done right away to take advantage of this." And so it was brought up after the fact to the council and so on, and came through $15,000 out the door that shouldn't have gone out the door. Just that easy.
Yeah. I think sometimes they're smarter than we are.
Yes.
Well, that's all they
Mhm.
do.
Not
That's
smarter than you guys. But
We're all working together on this.
Yeah,
Nobody's
for
smarter than
sure.
anybody else. We all contribute our
Yes.
experience and our knowledge to this team of people that works hard to keep
Mhm.
everything going. So everybody gets credit and kudos for doing a good job, and we're all doing our best.
Mhm.
So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
We can do this.
So continuing on page 120, we've got the capital assets, which you talked about, payroll, which we've talked about. There's that next one. 121 accounting transaction classifications. That did get much better in 2024, and we expect that 2025 will be even better. We are assuming this one will be cleared up by next year, and the next one too, audit adjustments, same thing. Again, a lot of those transfers we were having to net essentially because they were just making your revenues and expenditures go up for no reason. So that's going to be done.
Yep.
And so we're not going to have to be making those adjustments anymore. And then also the multiple bank accounts, that again, kind of all the same. It's going back to that fund accounting that we want to use general checking and put it in our funds so we're not having to transfer cash and in the accounting systems, right? And so that is going to be done. That is going to get a lot of those are much better in
closed
25
already.
already.
Yeah.
So
There's just a handful left.
That
Couple
some
holdups.
are necessary.
right. This next one, I'll probably have more to talk about.
One of the major programs for the single audit this year was medical assistance. And we had a few discrepancies between what the social services system said versus what the documentation said. And I would like to, 4 of the 6 have already been cleared up. They're good. There were 2 that still were inconsistent, so that resulted in a federal audit finding for medical assistance eligibility. But I'm confident that working with Karen and the team upstairs that they're being reviewed, and so this one should hopefully go away next year. But
There's
there
been
were a
a,
couple that had to be, that were, that resulted in a finding.
there's been a lot of scrutiny on the, those programs.
Mhm.
Medical
So,
assistance is once again in the
yeah,
hot seat.
there's no gray area.
There
It's either
is-
there or it's not. The
Mhm.
documentation's there or it's not.
There's very
So-
little grace. So
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, and you have a big county with a lot of that.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's,
Mhm.
then there's staff turnover too,
Mhm.
so there's a lot of, what is the chain of command? Who's doing it? Who's supervising it? Where are they going with their questions if they don't know for sure?
Mhm.
Things like that. So, but I mean,
everybody upstairs was fabulous to work with. I appreciate all of them and their time and
Good.
efforts. So yeah.
Oh, good.
And then the county ditch deficit fund balances, that is ongoing. We've had that for a few years now.
Mhm.
So, and those will be assessed and hopefully alleviated in the next few years.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the next few years,
Yeah.
not in the next year.
Yeah, in the next few years.
it takes time. When you have a disaster or you have a flood or you have a dirt storm,
Mhm.
you have to spend the money and then it's not always in the cash. They don't let you keep enough money in there to do the,
Right.
there's a limit on how much money you can have in the ditch system too.
189 systems.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I know, but your farmers pay a lot of taxes to have that nice drainage.
Good.
So it's a good thing. I mean, you
Keep
drive
that
around in
water
peak
moving.
season- and you drive around here in Harvest and you will just be overwhelmed by how hard people are working. It's amazing.
And so we did resolve 2 this year, the late financial reporting, because we were late last year, but now this year we weren't. Excellent. We're going to keep that going. And then publication of board minutes, we did have a finding on that last year. But that was alleviated this year too. So perfect. That's what we want to see, is just getting towards decreasing those findings that we have, which is what we're working towards.
And these are the written ones, that rise to the level of the board needs to know these, but things that come up in the course of the audit, if they're not, if it's fixable and it's fixed right away, we usually stop when we go to Stacy, and we're able to resolve these things. We're bound to find something, but usually we've seen it somewhere else. Let's do it better. So we, change a few things and it's resolved immediately. So, and all of your department heads and all of your staff and truck, everybody works together to try to keep those things from happening, and if they do happen, to resolve it immediately so it doesn't rise to the level of a written audit finding.
Mhm.
So we'll get rid of these too.
Well, and one of the last things, if you have anything else, but I always tell the board to read pages 5 to 13 in the front. Read the MD&A, gives you a great summary of what went on for the year, gives you the reasons for the ups and downs. And so if you're not going to read the whole thing tonight, just read those 8 pages.
The audit report itself, the audit opinion, which is in the front, that says you have an unmodified opinion, which is the best you can get, which is awesome for your bond ratings. That helps you keep your bond ratings and your interest rates.
Yep.
So the opinion is kind of boilerplate language. We're very limited on what we say in there. It's all required by the ASCPA.
Yep.
But this management discussion and analysis that actually is on your letterhead, it's from you as a county to the readers of the report to say, here's what happened in our county this year. And next year we'll probably be even expounding on this more and maybe putting some more personalization into it.
Right. And this is where you can put that if you want your readers to know something
Okay.
about the county, what's going on, the economic downturns or upturns, whatever you're having going on.
So then the rest of the report, you have your financial statements. Then in the middle, there's the notes to the financial statements, which we try to make that in layman's language as much as we can, so that, what is deferred revenue? What is that? So you go to that paragraph and you read what it is, and it's not that bad. It's anticipated future revenues that are unearned or unavailable. So, there's explanations for what all of those complicated, terminology is and what those things mean. So it's really not that hard to read. It's really interesting.
If you're
Sure it
CPA.
is.
If you're a CPA.
So do you have anything you want to?
There's just so many things, right? We have a lot of work to do, regardless of, there's a lot not in here. There's just a lot of things.
challenges that we have every day when we are doing transactions. They're just more difficult than they need to be. When they talk about all the additional entries and excess entries, that just costs us time and effort for them to review it, and it doesn't do anything to the books. They're just moving money around, and we're not. So the more we can streamline and get better, the less they have to look at, the cheaper our audits become.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Yeah. Maybe.
That's a few years out.
Yeah. So there are a lot of those things. It's just really the bigger part is the time and effort is going to take to get to where we need to be, where I would like to see us in 25 versus probably what the reality is going to be. And carrying it's because it's going to take a couple years.
Right.
I've come in late in 25.
Yeah.
We know we're doing some things to help with the payroll. I don't foresee that necessarily maybe completely falling off next year. We'll make improvements, but that it's going to take a lot of work. And same with at the counter. I've spent time at the counter this last week, and we're going to make some more changes there because we need to shore up some processes and split out some things. But just in general, every day is just it's hard to transact finance business in Polk County right now, and it should not be that hard. And internal controls is a really big piece of it because there's a lot of pieces that we're not doing that we could be doing. So it's just it's going to come down to what is priority, what can we actually get to in that reality,
absolutely.
and centralizing. So I have also gotten set up with a mentor through GFOA, Minnesota GFOA. So that I think will help me quite a bit to help kind of learn, because we are very fragmented and everybody's got all these little things going on, and we need to kind of come back and pull finance back in and get our arms around that. But that just takes time.
Exactly.
It takes empowering the staff to be able to make changes, simple changes that, it's just going, okay, here you go, let's do this, and helping them. I took Heather to an accounting class yesterday down in the cities through MMGFOA. It was great. It was excellent for me. It was a beginning, but it was really good to get just that exposure and getting staffs to start thinking of how do I use the system? How does it transact in the system? Why are we doing it? And what are we missing? And how can we do it better? But still have internal controls. We don't want to be so, you still want to be streamlined, but you still need that control in there. So
that was great.
It was great. Yeah, we've got a few more to go. It'll be really good.
And I think you have a good staff to be able to, once you open their eyes and show them that maybe there's better ways, I think they can easily take that on.
Yeah. The challenge is while we're trying to fix things, we also have the old way of doing things. So it's really hard to kind of go, okay, we can't fix this today. So it just does get a little frustrating. It's like we have some tough days, but we're going to get there, and that'll make business better too.
And it won't happen overnight. It's going to take a few years. It's it's been a long time. We've been struggling, and staff have found workarounds, ways to get things done. And so now we're going to know we're not going to have that. We're going to do it the right way, and we're going to all be on the same page, and that's where we're going with this. But I mean, we got work to do. We're, I hesitate to even say this. Don't run. We have about 5 pages of things to go over with Stacy from the audit.
Yeah.
So, and it's a lot for her, and we don't want to scare her off. So we're trying to be gentle, but we're here. We're going to help, we're going to help in any way we can, for sure, because it was such a pleasure this year to work with these people and see the progress and see the potential for this county really, getting it together. So it's been fun.
Yeah, well, we're excited, and we're very, very pleased that we have Stacy on board.
Thank you.
You're doing a good job, Steve.
Thank you. There's moments. I have moments.
Don't worry.
We're getting there.
Don't worry.
I just need to be patient. That's, I think, the hardest part is just that, like, there's so many things. I just want to be able to go, it's fixed. But we'll get there.
Still having moments that makes it feel like
But there's always something that comes up and gets in the way of that getting to it. So that is part of it. It's like, wait a minute. So we're getting there.
Well, and also Chuck is fully supporting Stacy on this. So,
It makes a big difference.
that helps a lot. And I know you as a board are supporting the whole program too. So, which really helps too. So it's like, we're not going back. We're in this to win it. We're not going back. We're going to work on it a little at a time. We're only human. do what we can do, and
Yeah.
it's already.
There is a
Wait.
right way to do it.
Yep.
There's a better way to do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Since you're all here, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about where I'm at for the 2026 budget. I mean, I have always felt uneasy with the amount of fund balance I use. To get the levy in an acceptable position relative to expenses. And the other county I worked with too, I used to be able to kick off the budget process with the end of prior to the audit. And just a straight up calculation of what policy was for use of simple calculation. And I think we're gonna work up a policy on that. But since we're going to discuss it for probably an hour, where do you receive fund balances? And I know you guys are working on how to approach this, but you use fund balance, cash balance, kind of interchangeably because of the method of reporting you have. And I know there's a difference, but we never saw the audit on this year.
Page 54 in the report. Generally, in government, you're funded by, partly by tax revenue, which comes in May and November. So, well, October, November. So we're talking about not having to have a lot of fund balance on hand because you do have those continuing revenue sources, like your power to tax. So, but in the general fund itself, the state auditor has published recommendations that you have 35 to 50% of next year's expenditures available in fund balance. And that is in what's called the uncommitted or the assigned, or even in the committed area. So right now you don't have anything that's not, well, you do. You have $10 million there that's not assigned for anything. Okay. So the restricted section on page 54 in the top, that's what's by legislation or contract, that's what has to be spent for those things or sent back, basically. So when it's your policy, then when you're budgeting, to spend that first, because it has to be used for that. So those are grants and things like that. So if you have that money available in one of those restricted pots, why wouldn't you use that first? And then the board itself has committed a little bit for just a couple little things. And then the assigned category. So in the Road and Bridge Fund, for instance, any fund balance in Road and Bridge would be assigned for Road and Bridge purposes. And the same thing for social services, assigned for social services purposes, but not any specifics on that. Okay. If they want it committed, that would be like the Road and Bridge does have a couple committed things there. But this is where you play with your amount of money you have on hand. And the 35 to 50% rule doesn't necessarily hold true in Road and Bridge and welfare social services and ditch, because those ones aren't as much dependent on taxes. They have some, but they're mostly, they have their own sources of income. Social services basically is a monthly or quarterly reimbursement program. So you do have a small levy for them, but they're basically funded by their own programs. And the same with highway. The most of the funding comes from the state aid. Like they did $9 million worth of projects this year funded by state aid. So that, brings assets into the county as well. But the rule really holds true for that general fund. So, when you're looking at what's our percentage of fund balance here compared to what we need to get us to the May settlement, which is the kind of the reasoning between the 35% to 50%. We got to make it halfway through the year before we're going to get a tax settlement. So we got to make sure we have enough fund balance on hand to make payroll and pay all the bills. And when you talk about budgeting with cash balance, you're not really wrong. That is really what you have, your cash. So the audit report, yes, we put in layers of other accrual type things, but any serious, like say an account receivable that you're going to collect in the future, like deferred assessments or something, those would be offset by a deferred revenue. Like I said before, it's not available. So you wouldn't really count on those accrual type things for budgeting, because they're in there to say that eventually the county's going to receive this money, but we're not going to put it in fund balance because it's maybe delinquent taxes. We don't know if we're going to collect that. Things like that we set aside in a offsetting liability account so that they don't show up in your available fund balance. So the fund balance has those in there, but your cash balance is really what you're talking about for spending, for budgeting.
So that 10 million is you're about at 65% right there. We're looking at the percentage of expenditures that your general fund has. So you have a little bit of leeway there. You've got a little bit of extra there. But there's also not a lot committed here. There's not a lot of signs. So you have room to look at what do we have going on for the next 5 years? What do we have going on for the next 10 years? Is that something that we should be looking at and maybe putting more committed funds in there for different purposes?
Like
kind of
saving up, kind of.
Mhm.
So we've talked about, so and kind of at this class, we talked about a little bit more was being able to have the fund balance as a projection for when we're doing our revenue expense budgets and being able to project out that fund balance and not using the cash, because the cash doesn't include all of the adjustments for what we haven't received yet and some of those things. But so it was a matter of looking at that fund balance and being able to project out the revenues and expenditures, but using the fund balance at the point in time of on December 24, projecting out to 25 what it needs to be, and then being able to project it out to 26 from that standpoint. But then trying to determine what the social services and public safety need. We've talked about we need a capital improvement plan, and we've talked about with Chuck and I have thrown out some different ideas about taking excess fund balance and do we need a capital improvement fund? We need an insurance fund. The insurance is not in its own fund, an internal service fund, just different ways of splicing out so we know really what is our unassigned fund balance, because there's 10 million, but we don't know what that 10 million really represents in terms of allocated to.
Well, this is as far as we've
on 1224.
Yeah, as far as we know, that is what, and then the insurance is called out the balance.
Yeah, it is.
So
some of those.
But you're right. There's a capital improvement plan is definitely necessary. Like the car replacement thing. And I mean you're pretty much leasing all of your cars now, so we have to put. They're in here. So it used to be you would budget to pay the car leases. That was it. It was in the expense budget. Well, it still is. But now that all the value of all the cars is in here as a capital asset, and all the value of what we owe on the leases is in the debt.
Is 1.3 million of all the leases, which is on page 47, 48.
Yeah, so we're having to put that's a new governmental accounting standards board pronouncement that came out in the last 3 years. So capitalizing the value of all of those leases. And
since you're talking about it, when those go back and we get payment for what's
get new ones.
Car where payment goes. I think what we've done in public safety, for instance, sheriff's deputy cars get a value back, they get a check, and it goes into the public safety account.
Committed for capital outlay for that fund and for the next car. Yeah.
That's, I've had some discussion about that. That's where the value of the enterprise leases have come. Actually gotten more back for vehicles. It hasn't been without effort because of the pandemic and supply chains.
Right.
When they can't get vehicles, it's like a national problem. But for us, it's a problem.
Yeah.
But it's a lot different than buying them and then selling them and having auctions and this stuff.
And then the maintenance is nice too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some of that too. We have a little more planned rotation of vehicles and equipment that sits in a couple of departments, trucks and so forth.
So those kind of plans, like in a capital improvement plan, like a written plan, here's our plan. And so then that way you have guidance on how much every year is going to be our need, the highway equipment and the sheriff's and everybody, all the cars, and what's our plan, and also for our buildings, what's our building needs? Are we comfortable with our space here, and everybody got enough room, and what's expansion look like, and is it good to have a building in McIntosh, and some of these things is that really paying for itself over there. I went over there last year and checked it all out, make sure it was there, right? Well, because, do they really have a building and employees in McIntosh? So I drove over there and left, I went to Boston, I went everywhere, all over the place, checking it all out. Is there really a gravel pile over there? Well, because they could be, we did have a county that said they had like a $80,000 gravel pile. We went there and it was green. It was mowed. It had already been done and taken out and mowed over and planted, and there was no gravel pile there. And it was in the engineer's report. Like, where's that gravel pile? And like, oh, that's been closed for the gravel guy. That's been closed for a long time. The financial girl, why didn't you tell me? So I mean, that was 80 grand right there
So
on the book. In the assets.
back to that disposal piece.
Yeah.
process of
Right.
it,
Yeah. So
managing.
where did that gravel go? It didn't run through the cost accounting system. Then you go over to the commissioner's driveways. That is a thing.
Come on.
We have it with
Come on.
town boards. No, we have that problem with town boards. There's 6 people that live in the whole township, and who's got the gravel is on their roads. So I don't know. It's
I
So,
wish
sorry.
that was the case.
Gotta lighten up on it.
But I don't have that.
So does anybody else have any questions?
Well, my only comment at this point is, and I've had this conversation with Stacy a few times. Remember, this is 2024.
Yeah.
So, Stacy came in, was it May or?
May
June
and end of
this
May.
year? So trying to clean this up, just to get the audit done as it has been. Improve processes for 2025 with the addition of these 2 softwares.
Three.
So that this audit 2025 is going to get going, and we're trying to make the 2026 budget. So, we're always dealing with multiple years. Ideally, to get to where we've got everything identified, and if it shows up here, it's going to mean something over here. We're trying just to tie everything together so that for those of us doing management, we're trying to be responsible with the trust that the public has given us to manage their money, their assets, their services. We can actually make sound decisions, cost-effective decisions, and be efficient, because we're always trying to get more done for the value for the people with less money. And it's very interesting to do, but many good days are up, many bad days. I'm trying to get things moving in the right direction. And again, it's hard when you have good people. It's still hard when you have good people. It just takes time, but you just have to go. I just don't know what else to tell the board. We've been hearing it from you for a long time. We're at a point, I don't think we can step back, slow down. There's so much to do. It can feel very overwhelming almost.
Yeah, and I think that I'm gonna, right or wrong, bring it up. We toyed with the idea of through that we're in the 26 budget extra staff, and I think it is for all the reasons we just said. Is there's just simply more than it's a matter of the oversight of working this level or working in the processes, and when I have to start working in the processes to keep things done, then I am not leading and setting the vision and working on the capital improvements and the budgets and things like that. And I think when I look at, what I have for staffing versus some of the other departments for true accounting work, and the payroll oversight, those are some longer term conversations that we need to have, but it is for all of those things. Not that we want to just spend the county's money just to spend the county money so I can have another staff person. It's to make sure that we are managing the county's money.
Particularly payroll.
And particularly payroll. Yeah.
We need a payroll person. I mean, Kim's doing great work,
yeah.
but she's the data entry person. She's not the person.
Supervisor.
So,
oversight.
and then we have HR, and in a lot of our counties, HR supervises. I mean, they give a change to payroll. Payroll makes the change, and HR makes sure it was done right. That's
But
not
there's a
happening here.
Disconnect there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're only staffed so much as well.
You're right.
Right, you know, so there's just lots of things there.
You almost feel as an administrator that it's unfair to expect the change from all the workers because they're so busy doing what they're doing. I think everybody here knows we're changing. We've been making progress. They're seeing it. They're involved in it. But you know, the direction, the how, that has to come at this level. And then you'll give people, our employees, a way to do it, so they understand why it's being done. But just noticeable to go. And we've got, we're very fortunate. I want to be clear on that. But again, I hate that battleship analogy about turning the battleship. Battleship. There's so many parts to this. Just the basic stuff. I talk about software, change everything is 400. Colleen and I have had many conversations about that. But it's really to be able to improve and coordinate and cut down on the amount of siloing that we have.
I said, don't, you can blame us. We're the battleship. We'll take it. The auditor's son. You know, if that makes it easier, we'll take it.
Is AI going to be a part of this in the
It
near
is.
future? I would think.
It's hard to say, but yeah, that was part of our training yesterday too, was what's happening with AI. And I'll tell you a lot of what's happening with AI is fraud right now.
Right.
The AI is,
Fraudsters are using AI to commit better frauds, and that
To write that email that sounds just like the fire chief and worded just like he would say and just like he would talk to get that clerk to send $15,000. AI likely did that, you know.
Yeah.
Change the email address by one letter.
And to be able to use the correct terminology and
She thought it was just like
and
the
then they
fire
said
chief
what
would
they
email
said.
normally, you know.
They have to tell AI to dumb it down because people aren't that smart. When
and
AI,
it does that.
when you ask AI to write a letter or do something,
Wow.
you say, well, okay, AI, dumb that down because they're not that smart. That's,
But it's true.
Dumb it down.
yeah.
It's not like-
That's how criminals are using it just as much as other people are using it for good.
But we're thinking for auditing purposes, you know, we'll just send AI right in the financial information and boom, 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 boom. They'll pick the samples, you know, and I mean, there's going to be some productivity issues with that
Right.
eventually.
Yeah, there are. But I think
It
for
gets it wrong.
policies and
Oh,
so
yeah.
on and so forth
Just writing
would
policies.
be an amazing tool, probably, you know,
Mhm.
once you start using it.
Polishing it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, what's a good policy for, but
You still have to vet it, but yes.
Right.
but
Yes.
in a county with 350 employees, having one person do payroll is really doesn't seem right. You know, that just isn't. Yeah, it's not fair and it's not right and it's not working. So, and bless her heart, I mean, she's doing the best she can,
She is.
and she's good, but she's can't do it
All
all.
the other things.
And Sherry is busy with her own stuff upstairs now. Like she's been helping Kim, but she can't. She's got her own stuff to do. So
yeah. Anybody
Good.
else have any other questions or?
Oh, I'd just say that with things going in the right direction and you being as happy as with those as you could be, I don't suppose that your contracts are
we're due for. Well, we can't. So we had a 3-year contract when we first came back after the state auditor. You know, and so then we said, well, we don't know what's going to happen here with the audit, with, you know, the new people, with the changes, with bringing a big firm on board that you're paying a lot of money, you know, so we don't want to, I mean, we don't know. So we just extended for one more year. So we'll be doing the 25 audit and then we'll be looking at a new contract for the audits going forward. Yeah, that was, so we're all set for one. We just did a same price, 1-year extension just to get the dust settled, and then we'll see. We'll look at it from there. Yeah.
Well, and it should get
get better.
easier. It should be better. This year,
wasn't reflected quite like that. It wasn't, we had
Yeah.
same amount of hours, if not a little bit more this year.
24 was, yeah.
It was a little bit
But we
wild.
got it done in time, but yeah. So 25, again, we're already starting conversations.
Yeah.
To get it going. Which
Good.
The
We'll
one
take
thing
a
I
look.
noticed from last year to this year is that you all three have smiles, and you have a gorgeous smile that was not really there last year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
We've had some tough conversations at this table.
so the smiles has got to make everybody feel good because there's been more smiling here today than most of our other conversations up to this point. That means something. So hopefully the people who are watching can see that as well. That
Well, I think a clearer vision as to where we're headed
I agree.
Exactly.
and what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Correctly.
The key will be making sure that I have the depth to be able to, or the time to do it without them getting too bogged down.
Right.
Well, it's a matter of priorities, and it's a matter of don't take on more than you can handle. Do one thing at a time. If it's taken 40 years to get this way, it's going to take more than 4 years to get it out.
Yeah, this is what I keep telling myself.
So
Hopefully not more than 4.
So
hopefully not more.
No,
I,
couple.
I believe Stacy asked you to officially. approve
Oh,
the
yep,
audit,
you
which-
should have just at least acknowledged the receipt of it.
Okay, so
I
we
would
need a
move
motion.
that. I'll move.
Okay, Warren,
Second.
and seconded by Gary. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be back.
yeah, I know. With a new bill.
And I know but anytime. I mean, you know that.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you want to, talk something out or ask about something, that just feel free to call us. I mean, we're not, we don't know everything, but we can sure throw in our 2 cents worth. For,
This is,
10 cents?
which is this? Oh,
no, that'll cost you more.
Yeah.
Do you want
Okay.
an update from me or are we good?
If you've got one, I know you want to meet with them. I'm going to do a little budget
Okay.
stuff.
Just a quick update?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, can you give me 5 minutes?
Yeah,
I'll be
sure
right
can.
back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to go ahead?
Mhm.
All right. So we've been busy, as you've heard. A few things I did want to mention though. So the last week or so, I spent some time at the counter with all the taxpayer payments coming in, and getting a lot more visibility to how that process works. So, and we did kind of put out an email to taxpayers to kind of, and I'm not sure how much people look at the website, but just trying to say we're getting the payments, we're putting them into a certain order of how we do it, just trying to get some communication out to the taxpayers because I know we get a huge influx of payments and then we're getting phone calls because we haven't processed the payments fast enough. So the couple things that I've learned and some things that we're going to change, we are going to be looking at getting a electronic file on our escrows so that we don't have to data input all the escrow files. So we're looking at trying to really take out a day or two out of that, keying in all of those payments, which if we can get the escrows out of the way faster, that allows us to get those taxpayer payments in faster. Keeping in mind, we've got 30,000 parcels in the county. That's a lot of processing to do. So that hopefully will help alleviate us taking so long at the counter to get people's checks through. And so that makes people a little less stressed out that their payments haven't been posted yet. The other part of it is just kind of in anticipation of the November deadline for ag, is just really kind of asking our taxpayers to, when they come in for payments, to bring in that tax statement with the stub on it so we have their parcel information, or bring in a list of their parcels. What I'm finding is the system is really not user friendly for us to be able to look up people's properties, people's variations of their names, and then the co-ownerships and all the things. And so if they come in without that information, we risk missing a piece of property. So that really is just kind of trying to get some communication out there to folks to say it really helps us because as much as, yes, we have a system, looking up the names and the variations is not a simple process. And it also just delays the process and the counter time that they need to be standing at the counter waiting for us to find those things. Does that kind of make sense? So we're working on that and just trying to be a little more on top of things. We're looking at, we are going to get some new receipt system software for our taxpayer counter and just kind of looking at streamlining and making sure that we've got some good internal controls at the counter and how we're documenting our process and look up and new software that will also, I think, make the inputting of the receipts and tracking of where all the receipts are coming to better. And then again, we talked about the audit prep. I did kind of talk to department heads about making sure folks are looking, that departments are looking at their transactions. The goal is to, at the end of February, cut everybody off from asking to make changes to 25's data. I think this year we were still getting requests in August. And it just makes it impossible to close because we're reclassing expenses and revenues and shoring up things. So the goal is February. I'm going to meet with the auditors after I leave here, and we're going to start talking about prep work for 25 audit because we really want this financial audit, those numbers done by June before we start the new budget cycle, which is going to be a push, but we're going to try our best to have it as close as possible. And then I did kind of mention so participating with the Minnesota GFOA, done some classes, which were great. It was great to get one of the staff members to that training, get them some visibility. And then also I'm going to be, I'll find out here this week who I'm getting assigned with for a mentor from another county. So that I'm looking forward to as well. So I've just got, and it's like a monthly meeting we do, but then I've got that network, kind of building the network. And then I have somebody to kind of go to kind of bounce ideas off of as we try to kind of define what is the finance department for Polk County and centralizing and bringing some things in and finding some other ways to do things that I'm just not aware of. So lots of good things going on. Just a lot of stuff. Let me see if I missed any. I think that's kind of it. Because we've talked about the payroll. We are still talking about department structure, that cross training of who's going to be the payroll backup, trying to figure out AP backup as we centralize. What does that look like as we clean up some of the stuff at the counter? What other, if we free up time on somebody's desk, we want to be able to fill that time with other duties that make more sense for them to do. So just as with payroll, as we streamline the payroll process, there's going to be efficiencies gained. I mean, really, we're going to be taking that payroll cycle right now is 3 days for Kim to process, and we're going to take it down to 1.5 to 2. So that's a significant shift in processing, but then that allows us to hopefully have more time for other pieces, but she can't do the supervising of that stuff. So even though I'm freeing up more time for her, she can't really supervise and oversee and check off her work, to say. So it still has that need there, but then she can now do some other tasks and maybe be a backup or maybe fill in here and stuff like that. So just kind of looking at how we're functioning. Any questions? I know we've thrown a lot at you. Audit, all good? Abdo, Annette will have some financial reports for you. I know we're behind on bringing, we're wanting to have a regular financial update for you. And I know that they are still working on getting that cleaned up. I think that kind of speaks volumes to how difficult it is to do anything in terms of getting our finances cleaned up. If we've got Abdo working on it, their expertise working on it, and we're still struggling to get that monthly reconciliation process cleaned up. It's way better and they're making progress, but it just, I think for me, kind of speaks to the volume of how complex our systems processes are, and it really makes it hard to balance out where we're at. So, but we're getting there with all of that help. So hopefully next month or next meeting soon, we will have the second quarter update and kind of going into the third for you. Okay.
I mean, in a very short period of time, you have done a lot.
We have, we're busy.
Every day's 100 miles an hour, which is tough when you're looking at numbers.
Yeah, it is. I think was it last week, Thursday, I just was like, oh wow, I'm done. I exhausted myself and that's saying a lot. So we're trying to learn how to coast a little, not coast, but slow a little bit more so that we can get through Friday without feeling like
We're under some deadlines.
we're under some really tough deadlines right now.
Which is tough. Some things,
We'll get there.
yeah, we do what we can.
Yeah. And so it is a constant, unfortunately, a shift of that's gotta, moving things off, unfortunately. But yes, the big deadlines have got to get done. And the reality of I can't is like being more realistic of what we're going to get done. But we'll see there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting in a couple months. See where we're at. Okay.
Well, kind of creating a new financial department.
Yeah.
What the priorities are.
Yeah.
And I know we're looking at one position, but it'd be nice to see, what you see as an ideal where you need. And I like the fact that you're getting the staff that we currently have trained in doing more things on accounting. So I think that's.
Yeah, and it's just really kind of asking the question and helping them, empowering them to be able to go, okay, I know how the system works. We need to do this better, giving them outlets.
Yeah.
Just like getting
kind of
the
clicks in on how I could.
exposure to other ways of doing it. It's not that they're not capable. It's just we haven't said, okay.
No, and it takes some money and some encouragement.
Encouragement and yep. But then it's getting rid of the tasks that are just not necessary.
Yes.
So that they're not wasting their time every day.
Yeah.
On doing that. So, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
6 months.
Almost. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Oh,
You too.
Thanks.
You want me to stick for budget stuff or?
I'd love it, but if
Fair
you've
enough.
got to talk to them.
I'd like to grab them on
Yeah.
some, and then I'll come back. Right. Thank you.
Yep. See you later.
Yes, see you.
All right, I gotta do a few things. It's gonna be kind of random. It's been hard actually getting to the budget here for a little bit. But we've had talks with Questica about how we've been doing the budget and use of fund balance and so forth. And they have a multitude of reports, but we haven't quite got it to where, shoot, I gotta get into, we haven't quite got it to the point of being able to explain it. So what I'm gonna try to do here is call up how we've done it in the past, because I've just entered numbers in. If I can get into my, get into this and why I can't, sometimes I have to kind of backdoor the, this isn't what I want. I'm sorry, I thought I was going to be more organized on this. Maybe sitting in there, but do you know why I can't find the file tree? Tim, do you know why?
Do you have a? Do you have a path to it of any kind?
Well, not that I'm seeing. Maybe this is it. Maybe this will get me in.
You lost me at the last click. Sorry.
Yeah, well, these things get updated, and then it's like none of my stuff shows up. I come in here the day before the board meeting to be ready for this, and now nothing looks the same. So I apologize here. Okay, this might do it. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, I got a few zillion things to go through. Okay, so you'll remember this. This is kind of in the summary that I've used in the past to essentially do a countdown for myself to get to a levy. Right now, I've got a levy that's between 6.5% and 5.5% increase. Some of my numbers are off, but not by much. But that still means I got about $760,000 to go to get down to 3, and about half of that to get down to 4.5. I've got department heads going through their items to get back to me. See if we can do some more. Still a couple I haven't actually talked to directly that usually I wait till towards the end. But use of fund balance, I think one of the things that is different is the amount of levy increase that is needed for Tri-County. There's just no way of getting around it. I've plucked $500,000 from the public safety fund to offset some of that increase. That increase is the norm now. It's not going to be every year, but the new number is going to be what we are looking at. We do have the jail bond being paid off in 2026, so there's some levy capacity there that we've been waiting for. But maybe where I get a little nervous is when I piece together everything, kind of copying what I did for 2025's budget. I'm up to just over $4 million use of various fund balances. That was actually a little bit more for 2025. So you can see I'm trying to keep that from going up too much while still trying to get down to this. One of the things that kind of is now a reality is the operating budget itself. The operating for any of these departments is pretty much stable. The wages change, but what it costs to run doesn't really change that much. So unless they're adding people, then if they have capital, that's where I've got some wiggle room. The sheriff's department, for instance, we just talked about it with Colleen, leases for vehicles. Those do go up every year because just inflationary costs, and you have to retrofit or outfit the new vehicles. You can't retrofit the new vehicles with old equipment. Yeah, it's just a fact of life. We've talked about that before, but these two, public safety for the sheriff, public safety for the jail, are the same fund. So you're looking at quite a bit of use of fund balance. Stacy and I have had a lot of conversations about that. She's conversing with the auditor. I want to get to that policy approach. I'm actually playing with this blue line. I won't go into a lot of detail on it, but it's essentially a way of calculating a percentage of the operating budget. And ideally, what I'd like is a policy that says, for this case, it would be whatever the 2024 audit says is the fund balance. The 2025 operating budget, 50% of that fund balance that's over that cannot be spent. We hold a 50% fund balance, but anything over 50%, we use half. So if we're 60% over, we use 5. That way we always have a buffer, longer term. And that was my starting point a lot of times, in different county for the next year's budget. So we'll work on that. I've been kind of hoping we could have a clarification of cash balance versus fund balance. Colleen kind of touched on that a little bit, but I'll kind of rifle through some of these very quickly. I'm going to see if I can make this easier to read. So I got to be able to read if I'm going to talk about it. Oh, it won't go. Why can't I get it to go larger? Boy, I'm striking out on lots of things here today. Okay, I'm going to have to squint. Fund 149 kind of takes into account a lot of various revenues. But for use of fund balance, Ron kind of taught me this one. I mean, we have to levy 5% over the bond payments. Well, we're always good for the bond payments. So we levy the 5%. But then over here, I just take it from fund balance because it's just going to be a kind of a switch there. So that's almost $100,000 plus $500,000 of general fund at this point. This number has actually been larger in previous budgets. The license center, we've talked about this before. This is not a mandated service. It's certainly popular, but we have to levy. It's now up to $83,000 to operate it. That is not, that's a discretionary program, even though we're very good at it. So I generally have taken that one out of fund balance, kind of coming up with a rationale. Figuring that we're going to end up having some further discussion, perhaps have additional staff person. We're going to need to do some furniture, cubicle improvements, that kind of thing. So I nipped that in Stacy's budget from fund balance. Going with Warren's one-time expense thing. Sam's got elections next year. It'll be another one. Well, elections go up. Expensive one year, they go down. Not much. So I put $200,000 in fund balance because it's an election year. For IT, for Levi's, he's got it all very clear what needs to be done. It's all equipment, servers, those kind of things. Very organized. He's constantly going through that and refining it. He'll be refining that number right up until the very end. But I took the number that is there right now in Questica for use.
What's the number? I can't.
342,633. Greg and I have had conversations. He put in $100,000 for wage changes for county attorney positions. As you've heard from him, the fact that the state increased public defenders' wages significantly has really put a crunch on all counties. So this is kind of a placeholder for that. Greg is a little different than everybody else in that he has another avenue to address this besides what we do with all the other positions. So I put it in there, but I also offsetting it with fund balance. I'm not sure where we're going to end up on any grid changes because it goes well beyond, that would go well beyond that office. That one is too minor to explain. Rick Langlois, really, we've done so many capital projects, roofs and building issues and so forth. We've got most of it done. That is actually a very huge thing because we have time now to do the planning, and Rick has been working on that. He's been working with Josh to look out 5 and 10 years. The one thing he's got in there is a man lift that would give us some flexibility. We rent one in town frequently, but this would be much more convenient and speedy. So I put that as a use of fund balance. In appropriations, I'll call that one up here in a second. Same number as last year. The amount that goes to local organizations from the county, it's just over $50,000. Last year, just used fund balance for that. And that's $1,430,000 from the general fund. We have other funds. I mentioned public safety, public health. I need to check their fund balance, but I've got use of their fund balance as well. There's a little bit from planning and zoning. They always have something, whether it gets done or not. I just offset that with use of their fund balance. I mentioned the sheriff's department and the Tri-County. And then you saw the number earlier from social services, their cash balance. We did use just over $1 million for 2025's budget. I have $1 million in there again for 2026. I don't like doing that every year, but at this point you can see why I'm working on that for you. And then where is it here now? I'm trying to see it. So the bond, or the capital improvement bonds, went to the juvenile detention facility in addition to some other things. And we had a legal settlement that came back. The board remembers that bond. We structured the payments, interest only for the first few years to get past the jail bond payments. So they're a little bit backloaded, but that's the payment for the interest for next year on that bond. $156,000 that can come from that $750,000 settlement that we got against the roofing company. And we'll have those funds squirreled away for that bond payment going forward. So in total, we're just over $4 million. So some of this will change. Certainly, any input, any comments you want to make. I got some more work to do. Obviously, I go to a conference next week, so I don't know how much I'm going to get done before the next meeting, but right now it's getting within reach. But these are the actual dollar amounts, assuming that I got everything correct here. I'd love to have it all done for you in Questica before it's done, but I can give you everything else in Questica. But it doesn't view use of fund balance the same way that this does. So this is a little bit easier so far to use, kind of a holdover, but eventually this, I'm sure, will get replaced. The other thing I was going to just bring up is I should always go over where we're at on appropriations. It's pretty much the same as last year. Come on, where are you? Oh, come on. Where'd it go? I thought I was temperamental. Why is this not opening up? Well, for some reason I'm not getting anywhere on this. And it's not hiding anywhere, so. Well, everything is basically the same. Not, there were, requests for, certainly from, Polk County Historical Society. I think you heard that one. But the 10,000 is what's in the budget. The 50,000 to, West Polk Soil Water is in there. They asked for that again. That was same as last year when we went up to that. You remember a few years ago we had some confusion over that as to whether that had gotten budgeted. I think we got those squared away, and it's easier to read the reports now for both soil and water. Some of the others have asked for a little bit more as well, but basically just no increase. But those I don't know why I can't get it up for you, but there's no change there.
And I just want to bring up one thing then about the fair. The last meeting we had, they had an economic impact study that came out from the state. And then there'll be a local one that comes out. I don't know if it'll be done before budget, but I really wanted to bring that to you guys to show you what the economic impact the fair has on Polk County. Just to kind of show you, they requested 50,000, I think. I'm not opposed to 50. I'm not opposed to anything, but I think we really should look at it closer to see if we can at least bring their amount back up in comparison with some of the other counties that the counties contribute to their fairs. Why do I bring this up? Not only because I'm on the board, but I think that the impact that event, and it drives me a little crazy when people, like the poor lady this morning, she called it the Fertile Fair, and I feel bad about that because it's not the Fertile Fair, and I've lived there for 34 years, and I've never called it the Fertile Fair. It's always the Polk County Fair, and I pride myself in that, but I've really busted my heart and soul for that organization. So I would like us to at least think about that. And if I can get that economic impact studies, I think I would show you guys what it actually does to the county, to the town. It even breaks it down. They had it state by region, and it was like 50 some million in our 5-state region, that the economic impact. But I want to see what it is for Polk County, because they have one that breaks it down per county in the state of Minnesota. They didn't have it ready yet, and we were expecting it, but it comes from 2024, of course, just like our budget thing. So if we could at least just consider that and think about that for when we get closer. I would like to, and if I get that information, I would really like to present that part of it.
I think I got 10,000 in there.
It was 10,000 now.
Yeah, for some of these grants, I'd like to see maybe consideration of maybe a matching grant type of proposal. You want 50,000, you raise 25, we'll give you 25. That kind of thing. That puts some responsibility on the organization that's asking for more money.
Well, that organization they make their money, but their budget is quite large. And and everybody says, well, they're looking for this extra 50,000 for the new building that's going up. Well, that building is done. It's taken care of. It's been done in a different manner. The fair has put forth their amount, period. The rest of it is being built with local donations, and which is interesting how you can actually raise money in a region, in a county, because most of it is county dollars that they've come up with, 750,000. or even a little bit more than that. I think it's closer to 800,000 that they have raised.
But I mean, you know, any event that's in the county, they can say they're an
As an economic
economical, you know,
impact. But this is very significant with 50,000 people that enter from different states, from different counties, that's the point I'm getting at. You know, where you bring in that much economic impact. That's what I'm talking about.
and
All right.
I mean, and actually, I would like to see some of these decrease because, you know, I question, I mean, is this a good use for our, I mean, I understand, you know, soil and water were required by, you know, statute,
Oh, you found it.
but, you know, but some of these other ones, you know, it's like, is that really the best use for,
Sorry, one.
I've highlighted the ones in red that asked for more than what I've got in the budget. East Grand Forks Heritage Foundation, Tri-Valley, Polk County Historical Society here in Cookson. I have to think that some of the costs we've absorbed, like their property casualty insurance and some of the building improvements, will help offset with, you know, the reduction. But, and then there's the fair. They asked for 50, I got 10. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot, but
What's the total there? 100 and
the total for the groups that you give money to are 50,285. It's
right.
You throw in the soil water conservation ones because I keep track of them.
That's a little different.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
But it's the same. I also have on this page. I think Laurel is in here. They go from 305 to 334. So your comments earlier.
Yeah, that's gonna change in the future too.
Yeah, it certainly it could. Well, yeah, it will.
I'm thinking next year at this time, it's going to be probably a different story. Unless things change.
I think you have to be careful. I've been involved in city government, and what it's at, they've had the same type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
These people coming in, and the group gets bigger, and they want more money, and they don't have any. You just can't do it. So you think you have to cap it somewhere, or just say, I'm sorry, this is, in 5 years you're going to have to find a different way of finding revenue, because it's really but the cities in bad situations, and they're good things. I mean, Kirkson does the ox cart day. The city was giving dollars towards that, and of course that brings in tons of money. I would think, maybe not, but they've said no. You're going to have to raise the price of the button from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 or 10, and that'll make up that dollar. So the people that are using that and being involved in that are helping pay for it, which
That's the point I make, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's, pretty much, I mean, like some of these other groups that we've had come in and, request money and stuff too. And it's like, I mean, that's not our purpose.
Yeah, we're an easy target is what it amounts to for a lot of these organizations.
Well, we will come to be that with all the cuts of federal dollars. It's a struggle. Everybody's out for revenue.
So it's always, are you the first dollar or the last dollar? And I don't think the county really wants to be the first dollar. And I don't know if you are in these, but to your point, you don't want to become the first or the only dollar. But the second thing I always say is paradox, having worked in cities like Gary, too. Who else is able to do it? So it's almost like you can't get out of it. Now, the county's a little bit different because we're so wide, 70 miles wide. It's a series of communities and all that. But, we have issues like the water district, for instance. Like, there isn't anything anybody else could do in the area.
True.
So,
And I think too, the way, because I mean, like just at the county level, like going forward, with some of the state cost shifts and the federal cost shifts that are coming down to us. I think organizations, they're going to have to look at a different way of either doing what they do or, because we just cannot continue to, to be the dollars for some of these organizations and, that, keeps on going on our levy. I mean, all we hear is, that, I mean, it's every single tax of everything that you do, fees. I mean, everything is increasing. And, it's like at some point, we're all going to break. And, where's that going to be?
27 and 28 is going to be really problems with the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, now that's that disability waivers task group that I'm on. DHS is tasked with finding $177 million in cuts.
How much?
177 million. Which I mean, I definitely think, there is like the low hanging fruit, with anything. But I think too that, the state agency has just gotten, well, this is our money. This is the way we do it. You can't touch it. And I think that, that mentality needs to change.
And they've always been trying to, not always, but lately been trying to push those costs back down to local government.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's what I appreciate about this is we get to talk about a lot of stuff, bringing this appropriations matrix up, but we talk about all these other things too. Then that really stimulates good conversation, and I like that because when I look at when you go to for example, you go to the social services department, they're going to be the biggest hit because they have the biggest budget. The way I look at it,
More than likely.
Huh?
More than likely.
More than likely, because not that it isn't a needed service. There's nothing that says it ain't needed service.
Yeah.
But how, if you have a mandate coming from the state and now we're responsible for it, and we've been reimbursed from the state, and the state is saying, and now we're responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the conversation that I like to have to see this, and I'm just using social services as the example. It affects every one of them. Public health, the sheriff's department, every one of them, because there's I don't like that word subsidy, but there's reimbursements from federal and state dollars. But we get to talk about it. We get to evaluate it. We get to make the decisions. And like you say, on that one account, it's about $50,000 we're talking about, which in the grand scheme of things is not that much, but it still revolves around I like the low hanging fruit, and so I think we're doing the right thing by talking about it all.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think it goes back to, as a county, what are our responsibilities, and what are we, tasked to pay for those responsibilities too. But, you know, the cost shifts, I mean, that's like when I was down at the Capitol right before the end of session. I mean, that was our message that, you know, what they were planning on doing at the state level, it was, yeah, sure, cutting their budget, but all it was doing was shifting the cost down to the local level, which, you know, and, you know, I mean, like for counties, our main source is property taxes, and we just can't continue to, because I mean, you know, everything, I mean, like the farmers, I mean, everything is, you know, costs more to do everything. And then what you get, the price is lower, and maintenance, and I mean, electrics and heating, you know, everything is costing more. And I mean, you know, some wages have increased, but still it's tough to make that, you know, make everything fit into your puzzle.
Well, that's where I'm at right now. You know, I need to have this buttoned up in about a month. And again, I don't know how much different I'm going to have it in 2 weeks, but certainly at the November 18th meeting, that'll, you know, the target is still to get there. And anything you think of, I'd appreciate hearing from you on, or try to address. It's a relatively bland budget. The things that stick out, obviously we got a 4.25% COLA increase, and we've got the benefit increase that go with that. This will be the middle year of the 3-year series of contracts. We've got the increase at Tri-County. You know, but the good things should not be forgotten either. We're making some transitions. What I don't have in there is like software changes. The things we have to kind of get to so we can get an idea of what are we talking about. Purchase something, do we lease something, when do we do it, when are we ready to do it. So, you know, once we get the budget done, January will come and we'll be busy. Okay, where do we leave off? And it's almost seems cruel to try to pull Stacy out and say, let's talk about an asset management software. I mean, we know we need to do it, but you know, let's just get what we're doing up to snuff.
We need a finance department before we, you know, how we're what the priority is going to be there. What was the amount in the lift?
42,000.
42,000. Yeah, I mean, it's not a big amount, but this is always my question with that. If there's something that we can rent, at least now we don't have to count it, we don't have to insure it, and you know what? We don't have to build a building to store the dang thing.
For right now, I agree with you. I think that
there's some things would be nice to have with time and stuff like that. But when you've got one that's got in the community, you know.
When you switched over from, and I don't think I was here when this started happening, but the switch over from buying to leasing the vehicles, that's got to be the smartest thing.
It was a tough transition, and there's still some issues, but I mean, it's
but if
better.
you have to pay $50,000 or $60,000 to take the deputies all equipment inside there, and Enterprise is taking that back because they're getting off $50,000 worth of equipment with it that they can resell.
Taking the equipment too?
No, we have to get those outfitted.
We take out what we can.
We take what we can.
Yeah.
But we got to do the next one, and I'll guarantee you.
Yeah, it ain't cheap.
It's a big dollar figure. But you know, you can.
And that's just on
advantages,
those
disadvantages.
Leases, but I'm talking about even the regular leased vehicles that we have. How many other than deputy cars do we have?
We've got a few.
Social service.
Public
health.
Facilities, planning and zoning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of them. You know, I mean, I think Rick has said, you know, we don't really drive it that much. We don't need to turn it back. Let's just keep it.
Yeah, that's kind of the decisions
Well,
you
yeah,
have
and
to
that's
make.
the things we can do.
You're still managing it. This isn't, there's nothing autopilot
Right.
about it. We've got Josh Plot now basically handling all the vehicles except the sheriff's departments, and highway can manage their own, but
Yeah.
you know, for social services, public health might have one or two. Social services got some. We were leasing from the state for many years. It's the management of it that takes the time, but you know, for those of you who remember working with Brian Lundeen, the amount of work that guy put in just by few squads was he's running back and forth between Christian Brothers and Roast, and you gotta go to Detroit Lakes for this, and down, you know, two guys gotta go down to the cities to get a state. I mean, it's like, yeah, you know, he's actually a sergeant. You know, now Jesse Haugen is handling that, and it's gotten to be more predictable and a routine, and we get told when the vehicles are going to be available.
And the same thing with renting of the big equipment. Leasing those things rather than purchasing it that has to be big money.
It ends up being the same in reality. It's the return, it's the check you get when you bring the vehicle back, because they'll pay you more basically than, you know, you got to go to an auction and, you know, pay that guy, and you know, take whatever chances you get. You know, they'll know what to do with them. I mean, you go rent a car at the airport someplace, it might be a former vehicle, somebody else's vehicle.
Right. Yeah, because they were leased vehicles previously.
Yeah, I'm not putting this on Joan, but she's the one that came back from the AMC conference and said she talked to the Enterprise guy and we ought to talk to him. So we did. And it was like,
good or bad.
and you know, my conversations with department heads, if you think you can manage it better or different, do it.
Right.
And I think when the sheriff said, you know, hey, we're going to do this, and a lot of it is what happens at the end. We're going to give you this for that vehicle, and now you come get it. It's gone. Here's your check. Well, it's maybe a little more than that, but
in general,
yeah. And you know, your vehicles look good. You know, the old days, you know, you almost had to have. You know, I worked in cities where if you had a new vehicle, everybody was saying, "Yeah, you got all sorts. You know, you're taxing me for." Well, now you know. You end up putting a lot of money at maintaining that old vehicle, trying to get another 10,000 miles out of it. You know, this, get rid of it before it's a problem, and get the new one, and you know, move.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it's, you know, we definitely are getting more money when we turn them back in than when we were selling vehicles. But you know, and then plus, I think too, it's something that kind of gets taken off our employees' plates a little bit, you know, that they don't have to be so intensive on, you know, on vehicles and stuff, that they can just, it kind of takes care of itself a little bit, you know. But so I mean, I think anything that where, you know, the return is better, and if it's time saving, you know.
I still remember working for a small city council, small town city council. You know, I think we did like a $2 million wastewater treatment pond. You know, done. A vehicle, walk across the whole council, walk across the street, look at the vehicles. You know, and like, okay, you know, it's what you get used, what you're familiar with. But you know, in the end, it's these guys, these employees that we've got that know these vehicles the best, what they need to be used for, what they have to be able to do. You know, my county engineer in Wisconsin, you know, truck had to be so high so he could see down into the ditches as he's driving. You know, it wasn't just any pickup truck; it was this kind. So when he's driving, he can actually see. You know, it's stuff like that. So you want them to be able to do their job
efficiently and effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they know it pretty well. I mean, they do it every day. They know it better than I'll ever know it. So,
Did you hear anything from Marshall Polk?
computer machine.
Thanks for remembering.
Because I mean, like, we can still just do it like contingent on if he hasn't heard anything.
I have not, don't have anything on that. So I either wait 2 weeks.
When's our next meeting?
November 4th.
No, our.
Oh, yours.
That's
That's in,
last Monday of the month.
Yeah, the other thing would be.
So that'd be
to
next
vote on it contingent, but,
yeah.
You know, if you're dealing with it at the next meeting,
Maybe on the 27th.
if they change it at all, it's gonna have to go back to West Central too. So,
And I wonder if West Central isn't doing this just to be a pain in the ass.
who is doing it?
No, Marshall Polk, I meant, not West Central. Story has screwed that one up.
You're on the West Central board.
So,
Totally wrong.
what is the feeling? I mean, do you want to just wait or do you want to do it contingent upon their approval?
That's what I would do.
Well, let's see, we're on,
Because they meet again on Monday, the 27th, and we don't meet till the 4th.
I would say wait till the 4th.
Wait till the 4th?
I'm just kind of like, we've been down this before.
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't think it's a
Well,
problem.
it's just interesting that you haven't heard.
It all comes down to the session before the judge. Need to have something in place there.
I mean, the director there said it's not gonna be an issue, but you know, if he forgot, fine. I told him I would tell him what we did, so I'll just, you know, in the meeting, I'll go write him an email.
Okay. So,
And then email us back if it.
We'll just put it on the agenda in 2 weeks.
mhm,
Yeah, okay.
I'll move that, we move that to the November 4th
okay.
agenda.
Can I get a second on that?
Actually, I
Don't.
don't think you really need.
Alrighty.
No, or like, I mean, so we don't need to table it or anything? Because then we'd have to do a
I would
specific
table
date.
it.
On the table, correct? It's just an item of the agenda.
I think it was on there.
It's on the agenda.
Right, it's just an item that you've addressed on the agenda, but there's no motion or any action.
Yeah, if you just do nothing, I'll put
Okay.
it on the agenda, then we don't have to get through that.
Okay,
Robert's
okay.
rules.
Easy enough. So, okay, sounds good. Anything else for today?
It's enough.
I mean, we were ahead of schedule, and now it's gonna, yeah. Okay, so then we are adjourned and we'll see you on Tuesday night,
And then on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Townships,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Townships and Thursday.